Again, rising fuel prices and even higher food costs are a burden that many South Africans simply cannot afford. Given the ever-increasing cost of living, many people are finding themselves now being forced to adapt, adjust their lifestyles. Our reporters, we have Nqobile Madlala with me in the studio and Nobesuthu Hejana in Cape Town. They've been tracking developments and checking how people across the country are faring during these economic times. And Ella also had Nqobile. But Nqobile, you're back, you're here in the studio. Hopefully you're going to give us some good tips. I mean, you spoke to a number of people, and everybody, of course, will be experiencing this differently. But the umbrella is that everybody's affected by the rising cost of living in one way or another.
Well, definitely, Bradan. In fact, in the morning, we started with a lady that is part of a group called One Family, One Stockpile. So now this is interesting about this group is that they basically throw in all the sales that they're seeing. So if you go to a shops and you see something, then you take pictures of that and you share with everyone in the group so that they know where to get these sales. But at the same time, you have a situation where we're being told that it's important for you to buy for long term, so you don't just buy for now. And I think we're used to monthly buys, and they're saying that if you can buy for 6 months, then you have you've stocked up, and all you got to do is top up on a monthly basis. So these are some of the tips that were being shared by the people, but also others. Then it's even harder to get to the 6 months. I mean, we heard from students that were saying they are now cutting down on data. Now that's worrying, Bradan, because we know that school is now online, so you cannot afford to have less data. And at the same time, we were hearing from some of the, I mean, this was very touching from the gentleman who told us that he's the head of the family. So how do you save when you still have to take care of everyone? So it's quite a difficult one. Yeah, it's quite a difficult one.
Yeah, I don't know if it was you, but one lady was telling you that don't be fooled by the big red stickers that say there's a special. Eh?
Yes, but in actual fact, just whilst we're talking about that, there is something that generally happens with those big stickers. You must actually look underneath to see how much you save. And so that's what she was saying, that don't be fooled by that, because sometimes they say 2 for 1, but not actually that. So you just got to be mindful of that. But let's listen in some more, Bradan.
So don't spend money when it's on its normal price, and don't be fooled by big red stickers that are saying it's a promotion, when in fact sometimes it's not really a promotion. So you buy for your long term to have your long life stuff, and then as the months go, you're able to just top up on the essential stuff that you really need, and that's what stretches your rand. You look at catalogs, you look at the different stores, look what their promotions are, you compare, you make your list. Any extra money that you have that's attributed to your groceries, you take that extra and you say, this month I'm going to top up on long life milk. I'll put it towards long life milk that will last me for the next 6 months. So for the next 6 months, I don't need to buy milk. So for the next 6 months, that portion that was attributed to milk, you can now top up on maize meal. And so the wheel goes.
Okay, Nqobile, you are with me in the studio, but we've got Nobesuthu as well in Cape Town. Let's bring her in now. Nobesuthu, I understand you also spoke to some of the residents there in terms of savings. This lady in Joburg telling us, listen, we must not be fooled by those big red special stickers that the retailers will put now and again.
Certainly, Bradan. In fact, it was the same sentiments shared by Gary Scallon that we spoke to earlier this morning, who was saying that the best way now is to actually grow your own food in your garden, and you'll be able to monitor, because organic food is better than preserved food in the stores that have a short lifespan. So he was also saying that for now, he has been able to also make from scratch his own muesli, and is making chutney from the stuff that grows from the garden. So a lot of tips coming from Capetonians who are saying that they are cash strapped and these times are tough. So they have to, even if they don't want to, but they have to ensure that they save any penny that they can to ensure that they maintain the lifestyle, but with readjusting their lives. Like we spoke to Kelly McKenzie just a few minutes ago, who was also saying that in her house she doesn't buy a lot of food and she doesn't walk or rather she walks to the store because it's close by, and also at some times when it's not cold or when it's not raining, she would opt to walk to a school because she stays 5 minutes away from the school. So it's better to also save on fuel, especially with those prices that are going up. So a lot of tips from Capetonians.
It's been a hell of a ride. A hell of a ride. We've had to learn to now budget really well. So, for example, as far as school clothes is concerned, I have 3 little boys, and thank God they're all at the same school, but there are mommies at the school who have now started a Facebook page and a WhatsApp group where we now chop and change school clothes amongst each other so that we can kind of save money. Furthermore, we don't do a big full grocery shop anymore. I have to go to places where there are specials. As far as petrol's concerned, let's not even talk about that. I drive a big car, but thank God I'm 5 minutes away from school, from work. So usually I just hope and pray that my husband's filled up the car. But if not, I just make sure that I go to work and back. And for any of the longer distances, for example, picking up the kids, dropping them at rugby practices, he has a smaller car, so he's got to make sure that he does the long hauls so that we can save on fuel.
That sounds very, very sensible there. Thank you very much, Nobesuthu Hejana in Cape Town for now. Let's just come back to Johannesburg then. Nqobile, among other people you spoke to in Johannesburg was a debt counsellor. I wonder what they have to say, because they are the ones who help us when we're in trouble as creditors.
Well, but then they have to basically watch all of this, and it's quite concerning that they were saying that the consumers always feel like they're alone. So when they speak to people and they speak about how they have used so much credit, people always feel like it's their fault. But they have to explain to them that there's inflation. There's so much that's happening in the background that has caused them to get to a point where they are. So then they said they're talking about things like budgeting. They help them learn how to budget. They teach them where to look, and that's the red stickers that they were talking about as well. And I mean, like, they try to inspire the people, because I mean, it's such a difficult and a lonely place to be in. And they were talking about the fact that a lot of South Africans are in debt. They're saying that half of the people that have credit at this point are in debt, and they're not being able to pay. They were just talking about what is worse now is that parents are even looking at not taking their children to public and private schools, but instead going online. Now, we do know that even though that is like a cost-cutting measure, it's still a measure nonetheless that still requires money, because we know that online also still requires money. I mean, of course, that's if there's no load shedding, so there's quite a lot to deal with. But they're saying that it's very important that Joburgers and everybody else really start looking into budgeting. But Britain, I was of course on the ground. Let's just listen to some more Joburgers.
It's tough to be on the side of a working class, where everything is going up except the salaries. So it's very hard.
Because of economical circumstances, you try and find something that you can start from home, like a small business, maybe a vendor or something. But unfortunately, the cost of living is extremely high, especially with the huge responsibility of kids, as well as our elderly people, you know, surviving on a very, very steep pension.
I just asked my employer to work from home, and I also moved from my apartment going home to cut on rent, because fuel is expensive and food is also going up.